Dadme un minuto. ¿Eh? Sí, sí, que están todos. Cuando me digáis, ¿eh? So, welcome again to the International Congress of Young Researchers. Now it's time for a lecture. Today's speaker is Guillermo, director of Ayúdame 3D. Ayúdame 3D is an NGO based on designing aid and imprinting social challenge. So I'll pass the virtually floor to Guillermo. Thank you, Guillermo, for being here with us. And it's your time, okay?
Perfect. So hello everyone. I'm super happy to be here. I'm gonna try to explain how my NGO is working and it's helping hundreds of people around the world. Thanks to technology, thanks to 3D printers, and thanks to anonymous people who want to collaborate and cooperate with the technology and innovation directly in their homes. So I'm gonna share my presentation. Just tell me if you can watch it now. I think yes. Okay, so I try to explain from the beginning. I'm an inventor. I would say that I'm inventor from I have 5 years old uh, with this space, and I love to play with my toys, to play with my Legos, with my building construction toys, understand what happened inside of the construction, inside of the boxes, not just to play, but understand the design of the toy. So I'd say, okay, I have this toy in my hands. That is because there are someone who designed this toy, being an adult, being in a company. So I say, okay, I want to be this kind of person. I want to be a toy designer in the future. So I became a toy designer when I finished my degree, my industrial engineering degree. I started working in a company here in Madrid, in Spain, um, designing the toys that are technological in a technological field, traveling to China, to the factories, to Hong Kong, to different toy fairs, Germany, to understand the work of the designers, meeting other designers, and it was the dream for me. You cannot imagine to have a dream when you are young and became like to reality directly when you finish the career. So this was my first toys when I was a child. For example, I created the first Iron Man design. Marvel cannot say the opposite. I made the first Iron Man. But as you can see here, well, in Spanish, but um, in my hobbies, I write to invent, to make things. This is my room, well, my room 2 years ago when I lived with my parents. You can check that I really do love toys, and I love how to understand. I like to collect the toys, understand how it works and how everything is connected, and how it's possible to create this entertainment for children. When I was a child, I also have the idea to have a magic machine to create my own toys because I have maybe a lot of notebooks and I have many ideas, but I didn't have, of course, a machine in my house that create these different devices, these toys. So 3D printer arrived. You can check here the idea of what a 3D printer is. You have just design it your computer and create a 3D model in reality thanks to PLA. most common material in 3D printers. I started to create my own ideas in 2016, creating my nerd things, Pokemon, Fortnite, and these kind of things. And but also present to my family, present to my friends, and then I realized that I could make more things, not just for me, but to help people. I start to create spare parts of the toys that was not available in that moment. And in my degree, I finished my project with this drone, which is made by 3D printers, the orange parts. But it's not 3D print a drone to just for playing. It's for saving. It's for go with the firemen, for example, to a building with its flames, and you cannot go in. You don't want to go inside. So let's put this drone inside. So it's a drone that helps to solve problems. So in that moment, I realized that I could use the 3D printers and 3D technology to help others. And this is where Geometry 3D starts. Um, in Geometry 3D, we create this kind of help for people in this situation. We transform in that So this is the beginning of my trip. It was a trip in 2017 to Kenya, to an orphanage, and I decided to create 5 arms for 5 people in there. And I created the first arm for people with no in the world. I mean, with 3D printers. It was a hard trip. It was 27 hours to travel there and connect with this person, with these people was difficult in the beginning. I started to explain how the technology works, how thanks to this natural articulation, for example, this guy here has elbow, so he moves the elbow, and she moves the elbow too, and they can grab things, they can close the fingers in their hands. So they are being able to grab things to create new, be more efficient, more independent. For example, Richard, this guy here, was his teacher, primary school teacher, and he said, finally I can take a pencil and a book in the same time in my classroom. So it was like the ideas to have more possibilities in your day, in your daily routine, that be take more employees, be more independent, be more practical with your family. So it was interesting the idea to have this new technology for them. Robert, guy here, was the first person who was it. He's gonna was to recite my device for people with no elbow. The movement was like just moving the shoulder. You can open and close the device. In the beginning, it was closed too high, so we decided to redesign in that very moment some particular mechanism. And then I also realized that Robert was 12 years without moving the elbow, so it was difficult for them in the beginning. But you can say here it was just practice to realize that he has a second chance, a second opportunity to have a better life. You can see here the difference between before and after the device. So I was super happy, super excited. Of course, wearing my Spider-Man suit. So I decided to get back to Spain and open Ayúdame 3D, which is like Help Me 3D in English. A website, social media to show that I have a 3D printer in my room and I can make these devices for free to anyone who needs this kind of help. So it was huge in the beginning for the press, digital press, newspapers, a lot of places was showing the idea, news about this. So we started to receive a lot of requests of these devices. We started in one country. After After that, it was Spain, the second country helping. And after that, 10, 20, 30 countries. So it was a hard job in my free time during all this happened. So after some years, I decided to quit my job for trade designer and start to continue just 100% of my time. As I say, the press was a really huge push in the beginning to show the project and be more famous, to find more people in the world who need this kind of help. For Spanish people, maybe you know this guy. Uh, he didn't say this because it's like a meme, but it would be great if someone says that. I received the Princesa de Girona award, which is the most important award in Spain right now for social projects, technological projects, scientific projects. So I was super happy to receive this award because it's because some institutions, some jury, um, professional jury, decide that your project is not just one guy helping with the 3D printer in their room. No, it's now a social big NGO who help many people right now in 55 countries. I have the opportunity to be in Forbes list. This gives me also the opportunity to bring my project in many institutions and receive help from companies, institutions, foundations, and other places. So it's really good. And as I said, we have awards. This moment we have 25 awards in technological and social projects, innovation projects, national and international awards. So this help us to continue with the project, to reach more people in the world, and also to configure our project, which is at MHSD, which has the 3D Cs, our devices made 3D smelling, 3D smelling, and 3D speaking. With people with no wrist, with no fingers, with no wrist, and with no elbow. They are names of children of the orphanages that I traveled in the first time. And as I say, we are not just in Kenya, we are not just in Spain, we are in 55 countries. So you can see here that the help is always for people who need this kind of help, who cannot afford any kind of device. So we are giving it in more than 55 countries, and we are giving like 300 devices per year. So this is what our first idea, and our second idea was to being help for more NGOs and more institutions, and thanks to collaborate with different ministries, with the army, for example, in Spain, with more entities around the globe, we can reach more people. So the second and the third idea was not just send our devices, but send 3D printers to teach locally the technology to people in there. For example, here in Kenya, we teach to Nelson and Lydia how to design, how to print, how to create devices for local people. Local people helping local people. So it was the next step in this project because we think that technology must be a key to create new solve new problems, and we don't want to have just us with technology. We want to share technology because you don't know in which mind is the solution of something. So nationally, they are incredible, and they are helping a lot of people in Kenya in countries in Latin. As I said before, there are many people who need this kind of help. For example, Richard was a guy we find just walking in Kenya, and we created the device for him in just 2 days. And it was incredible because this is innovation in Kenya. Richard doesn't need any electronics because if I give the device for Richard and he left and he came back to Madrid, maybe a cable is broken, a wire is broken, a servo motor is broken, and it's totally useless. So you have to be sure about the socio-economic and socio-cultural um, moments in situation in different countries to know what is the perfect innovation in each country. In this situation, for example, is a mechanical device for just using threads and elastic bands and just mechanical, no electronic device. When I came back to in this trip, it was 2020, the best year to travel. And we decided to continue our idea to help because it's not just arms 3D, it's helmet 3D. So we started to create devices thanks to many volunteers in Spain, and we deliver more than uh, 20,000 uh, of this mask to 20,000 people in all the communities on Spain, on the islands, everywhere. It was super important to have this technology open to everyone who wants to help, because thanks to that we can reach many people. Uh, the best part of this situation is we already teach in Kenya, so they will be able also to help. If we don't share this technology with others, they will not be able to help. So that's why it's important. We are now creating new devices thanks to others project like Do Bionic, which is an Italian project. We are creating devices thanks to this technology that is um, uh, I don't know how to say. Uh, well, we are creating this device that is open or this is available. So we are creating devices for people, for example, without shoulder. And there are more projects, for example, Box. This is a project that um, is a box that covers the treatment of children in hospitals with cancer. So we are be able to create boxes with superheroes, with the cartoons, with princesses, with many colorful cartoons to give color to that gray moments in this situation for children, kids. This is a psychological solution, a push to these children that they are not isn't necessary, um, they are not in a good situation. So we give them this to give to have superpowers, And when they go back to their homes, they can put toys inside of the box or whatever they want. So this is a really good project that we are happy to have. Well, this is all for free. This is our idea to help with the technology because we think that technology must be a key to help others, and that's why we are not selling this products because we want to be equal and reach all the people who need help. That's why we have different business models. For example, this business model consists in team buildings and projects in companies that won't create our devices, and we teach them how to create our devices, our arms, our mascot, Helpy, which is our toy, and they can understand how to use the technology, their technology, to help others. So this is a super good project that we use to make with companies, with foundation, with universities. And this is 2 hours of training, and they are be able to understand how technology can help others. We also create projects in school. We have a program Helping, which is for people from I think it's 12 years old to 16 years old, and they will learn how to print, how to design, how to create social projects. They will create hands for the children who need this kind of help, and also they are motivated to creating the future social projects. Because our ideas is, if you are growing up, if you want to create an entrepreneurship, you are entrepreneur, you are working in another company, okay, your mind must be social. Your mind must be always thinking about solving problems in around around your situation, your ecosystem. So that's why we are creating also social social projects like this one, or the kids, the children sponsor some of our devices for helping some people in Spain or wherever they are. Finally, our last devices, objects, designing trophies, keychains, any kind of object that are it's possible to create in our 3D printers. That's why we are collaborating with many companies, many influencers, many governments. We have the opportunity to create these objects. All the benefits and profits of this all project that I mentioned are focused and directly to help others and create more devices for people who need this kind of help. Well, the key of Ayúdame 3D is we can create anything. We can design anything. I mean, Sirius, this children in Uganda, has a situation that they are no device for him. Doesn't exist anything for him. So we say, okay, let's create something from the beginning to help this kid. And thanks to that, now we are helping more than 20 people with this device. So this is our main idea. Is we are creating something that maybe for the market it's not profitable. We don't care that. We just want to help. So that's why we are creating devices for people around the globe, and we creating more devices, and that's why we have a team of engineers, biomedical engineers, biologists, and people who know how to create these devices for helping people in the world. And I'm gonna finish with this project, which is the name is Super Kids, that makes an opportunity or a happy childhood to children with arms, with the Spider-Man motifs, frozen colors. I mean, whatever the children want, and we are joining them during they are growing to creating new devices in the future till they are adults and they want maybe a skin color prosthetic arm or whatever they want. So I'm gonna show you the Spider-Man unboxing. Well, this is the main goal to continue with this project. Um, but My conference is not to show you how to use technology to help, is also to make you understand that you can help with your hobby. You can help with your idea to know your knowledge, your, your projects, your hobby, I mean, your passion. If you are better than others doing something, just do it for others, just do it for help. Because in that moment, you realize that helping is too easy not to do. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I will be super happy to reply your questions.
Yes. We have any question? Yes, I think so. So I will pass the microphone and Hugo will start with the question, okay?
Thank you. I have a lot of questions. First, what material do you use to print your prosthesis?
Sorry, I didn't hear.
What material is? Yes.
Materials.
Okay.
So we are
What?
using PLA, which is a super useful material. It's
Yes.
economic, it's sustainable, and we are also having this opportunity to make another people with 3D printers in their houses use it. So that's why we are creating our devices with PLA. It's um, it's not the best for creating mechanical devices, but we create the best way to create it with this material, thanks to the settings, thanks to the option to print.
Okay.
So that's why we are using this kind of material.
Okay. And then, what printer do you use? What's the best printer for you? The best 3D printer.
Well, difficult. Here we have more than 25 3D printers, all different. It depends of the project that we want to create. Is we use another some printers and others. We use Reality
Yes.
3D printers, which is they are because they are big and they are economic. But we are also have BSL 3D, as you can check here. We used to have Beku 3D printers. Now we are having some tree maker 3D printers, but it depends. It depends if you want to print it in PLA, if you want to print in another material, if you need something special or something mechanical. It depends. But there are many options.
Okay. And how much time does it take to print a prosthesis?
Just with one 3D printer, it takes 2 3 days, and then you have to build. And it takes 2 3 days more. And for example, to our volunteers, we give 20 days because they are volunteers and they are doing it in their free time. But we here with our mini 3D printers, we can create a device in just one day and build it in another one and directly to the person. That maybe takes 1 day or 1 month to arrive to the other corner in the world.
Okay. And when did you bought or built your first 3D printer?
When I
Bought
bought,
or built?
sorry.
When did you bought your first 3D printer?
Yeah, okay. 2016
Okay.
was my first 3D printer. Terrible 3D printer.
And which model was it?
After that, I how to build another 3D printers better than that.
Okay. And when did you started your research? When did you start your what you said?
Yeah, 2017. It
2017.
was the
Okay.
beginning of ICIJA-Spain. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for your answers,
Thank you.
and good luck. It's a very good
Thank you.
project.
So we have another question here.
Thank you. So, good afternoon. Here's a question for me, which I'm pretty interested in the answer. How likely, well, well, I'm just sort of reflecting on how to phrase it better. Okay, here. How soon do you think 3D printers will be available in, maybe not in every single, but in most of the standard, for instance, Western European households, and be used on a daily basis, given the current technological advancements and other factors such as their cost, etc. How soon can this happen that 3D printers will be available to
Yeah.
nearly everyone?
Well, for example, I thought that 3D printers will be in every house when I started to have my own 3D printer. I say, okay, maybe in 2045 or 2030, every house will have a 3D printer. But now, when you have a project and a company, an NGO who use 16 3D printers every day, you realize that maybe you don't need a 3D printer if you know are not working with 3D printers. So for so common people, I think they will not have a 3D printer in their houses. For new research, sanitary fields, industrial fields, many projects like that, they will be huge. Sanitary fields will have many 3D printers and many technology like that. I'm not sure if it's going to be like my 3D printers, but they will have 3D technology for sure to create projects before and after of surgery, to create biomedical um, organs. And we will have a huge impact in sanitary projects thanks to the technology, thanks to this technology, because the best part of this technology is super democratized. And everyone in every place in the world can learn about 3D printers. So that's why, for example, here in Spain, we have many public hospitals that are be able to create projects with 3D printers to reduce cost of operations and many projects like that.
Okay, thank you. And just out of interest, since we're talking about this topic, how much does an average 3D printer currently cost? Just out of interest. The printer
Yeah,
itself.
as I said before, it depends of the 3D printer that you want to have. We have 3D printers from 300 euros till 3D printers that cost 4,000 euros. And it prints quite the same. So it depends of the projects that they want to create with them, and it depends of the manufacturer and something like that. But you can um, you can have a 3D printer for Christmas in 2023 if you want, because right now it's affordable sometimes.
I see. So I guess the prices vary a lot based on what the model it is, like what model is. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Est-ce qu'il y a plusieurs questions? Non? Non? So, Guillermo, thank you for being here with us,
Thank you.
and thank you for share your knowledge to our people, to our participants, and thank you one more time.
Thank you. I would like to invite you to follow us in Instagram or Twitter or whatever you want because we are showing many, many videos of people who help. So it's Ayúdame 3D in every social media. So
So
thank you very much.
here one participant asked me if you can share your Twitter account.
Sorry?
So here a participant tell me that if you can share your Twitter account.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I don't know if it's this one. Ayúdame 3D.
Ayúdame 3D.
Yeah.
With capital letter.
Yeah, not necessary.
So here we have so many people following you on
Yeah.
social media.
Thank you.
So thank you, Guillermo.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Hi, bye.
Bye bye.
So now the presentation session will be in half. We think that in 40 minutes, more or less. So we will have the Mexican delegation and the Luxembourgese delegation that will present the first presentation, the first project. Thank you.
fin tu juventud es mía. Corazón de avellana. Da igual, la juventud está en la mente. Barquillo crujiente. Este color no rejuvenece. Y su chocolate. Te presentaré a mi hijo. Todos tenemos un lado bueno. Con Kinder Bueno puedes ganar premiazos cada semana. Descúbrelos y participa en kinderbueno.es.
for the camera, just.
Only to speak here to...
Yes.
No. Welcome another time to the last presentation session. So our next speaker is from Luxembourg. The project is called Color, How It Affects Emotion and Its Association, presented by Ekaterina. Thank you.
Hello everyone. So this is my project. It is psychology related, and it has to do with how the psychology of color affects our emotion and why. So to start, the idea. So psychology of color is everywhere around us, and we don't realize that it is something that is completely subconscious. So for instance, we all have experienced differences in mood based on like the weather, for example. We tend to sometimes feel much happier when we have like brighter weather, more sun, than when it's like really moody and dark. So this is an example of color psychology. So my basic supposition is that everybody realizes colors differently, and thus they remember and associate them differently. So in this research, I put a lot of questions to the test, and I will try to break each and every one of my hypotheses down. So the goal of this research is to understand why we like certain colors, and if this has to do with how we associate them. So yes, so also to see how they affect us psychologically. And yeah, so this is also a field of psychology that is really commonly used in marketing and consumer behavior psychology, so to make you buy a product or commercially, yes. The idea came, I have synesthesia, which is a condition where you tend to associate certain things with your emotions. So for instance, you might see a person and you might associate them with a color, which is what I usually do. Thank you. So, two basic questions that we can set we can ask ourselves is, why do we like colors and why do we dislike colors? So when you think about your favorite color, do you have a specific reason to why you like that color? And the same way to a dislike. So this is some theoretical background that I would like to go over is to understand the concept of colors, we must initially understand how they are created, how we perceive them biologically and psychologically. Each organ and tissue covers a different purpose in our brain. And so I have narrowed this on the basic structures of the brain and the eye. And to understand the creations of color, I also investigate the electromagnetic spectrum. And lastly, the effect it has on human psychology. So for me, my favorite color is purple. And I have various reasons why I like this. Firstly, because it's a really calm color, and I also feel like it represents me. I will also cover these reasons soon. So my first observation was a Rubik's Cube. So I don't know how many of you have LED lights in their room, but once you put the Rubik's Cube under a different light other than white color, white light, the colors will change. So for instance, if the yellows will disappear and they will become more like reds and oranges and colors will mix. So this comes to my first conclusion. So color depends on three things. So the source of light, so the sun, artificial lighting. So we have a white producing source, the sun, which also creates the electromagnetic spectrum. So if we shine a white ray of light across a prism, light gets separated based on colors, different wavelengths. So therefore, white has all the colors of the spectrum combined. Color is divided into two color palettes, those who lay on the blue side of the spectrum, and those are considered the cool colors, so blue, green, and purple. And the other side of the spectrum is the warm colors, which is red, orange, and yellow. These are separated by frequencies. So for cool colors, we start from a wavelength of 550 nanometers, and we go with a frequency higher than 545 terahertz. So this is just, to not confuse you, this is just what we're able to see. The spectrum is huge. It consists of UV light, X-rays, and all that stuff, but we are only able to see a very certain frequency, which is from red to purple. The second thing that color depends on is the way light reflects on surfaces. So leaves, for instance, they are green because of the pigment chlorophyll, which allows them to photosynthesis. This is an example of how light reflects on surfaces. And lastly, how the eyes of each individual process light. So this has to do with your brain structure and your eye structure. In humans, we have three cone cells which allow us to see color. These are red, blue, and green. And combinations of these three cones allow us to see more colors. So even if we have three colored cone cells, we're still able to see colors like orange, which is a combination of green and a red cone cell, and so on and so forth. We can see that from the art wheel that we have all done in primary school, how each colors are made, and it's the same way that our eyes work. Cone cells also act like pixels, so the more cone cells a person has, the higher the resolution of the image, and so on and so forth. So the psychology of color. The color psychology is the study of the effect that colors have on the moods, behavior, and feelings of people. So nowadays, color psychology is mostly used in marketing and advertising, and color is also a subconscious trigger of emotions. We do not realize its presence, and that makes it unbeatable. It is an effective way to attract, distract, and make statements. The emotional response of its stimulus created by each color varies and changes. So for instance, red will most likely give you feelings of intensity, maybe danger, without you subconsciously realizing it. So you're not going to think, oh, I see red, so that might be danger. It's something that happens automatically. The same way that blue might not automatically make you feel calmer or safer, all this will happen without you thinking about it. So I don't think you'll be able to see this, but I had three hypotheses. So I'll read them out. So my first hypothesis was color as associated with positive objects, places, etc. will score higher on a liking scale out of 5 stars. So if you associate a color with for example, blue, you associate it with the sky and the sea, you will like it more because it makes you feel calmer. Second hypothesis was our opinion on each color is based heavily on the way we associate it. So this is pretty much the same as my first one. And the third one and last, most participants will prefer cool colors from warm colors due to lower intensity and self-representation. So the lower the intensity of a color, the most likely you are to like it. Okay. We're not going to be able to see that either. So it says conducting the study. To see this, I conducted a study, I made a survey, I sent it out. Thank God, luckily I had 150 participants, which allowed me to compare and see large results. So ages representing the general population, so 15 and above. This included people of various backgrounds, students of high school, and adults. Luxembourg is a very international country, so I hope that I covered a lot of cultural backgrounds. So questions were relevant to each one of my hypotheses, and a few irrelevant general questions to prevent demand characteristics. Demand characteristics is when your participants understand what you're searching for, and they give responses that you think you would like. So the questionnaire included both questions, quantitative and qualitative. And this was necessary for me to draw some conclusions, even though at the end I had to make all qualitative results into quantitative results, which took a lot of time. Okay. So I created a chart based on what people told me for each color. These are the 4 in each color. They are the 4 most common things people told me they associate each color with. So for red it was anger, intensity, passion, and love. These are all emotions. And I'm not going to read each one of them, but you can see them for yourself. So, to give some statistics, the most liked colors was blue, and this scored on a liking scale of 4.5. Second one was green with around 4 out of 5, and third one was purple with 3.77. The reasons for this, yes, thank you. So, the highest one you see in yellow. People said that they like that color because it's calm and soothing, while the sort of beigey pink, brown, the biggest one that you see, is because they like to see it around them. So they gave that rating because it's either the color was either calm or soothing, or because they like to see it around them. So the same thing for the most So the same thing for the most disliked colors. The most disliked color was, oh no, this is wrong. I'm very sorry. This is wrong, so I will just say the results. So the most disliked color was yellow, followed by orange, and I think the other one was brown, the third one. And the reasons were similar as into why they disliked that color so much. What can we conclude from this? So the liking of a color depends more on the intensity that it gives rather than its association. Negative associations of colors still produce high ratings on the liking scale. So even if people associated something with a bad feeling, for example, red was anger and irritability, they still liked it more than other colors, so this kind of like took my hypothesis down. The most liked color was reported to be blue, while the most hated color was said to be yellow, even if orange scored higher on a liking scale. So this also clashes with my hypothesis, but sometimes our hypotheses are wrong, so that was still valid results. And fourth and last conclusion, cool colors were overall preferred than warm colors, and that was a negative correlation between intensity. So where can we use these results? Now it's most commonly used in marketing and advertising, but I was hoping that with these results we can use in hospitals and in your everyday life to boost, to give yourself small dosage of dopamine subconsciously and to make yourself feel better. For example, the weather. And yeah, and it also helps us understand a bit more how our brain works and how a subconscious part of our mind also works. So, thank you, and if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Have you got any questions?
Thank you. My question would be, do you have any explanations for why certain colors are favored by the majority of the people above others? Other colors, why our subconsciousness has developed that way to favor particular colors?
Yes, there is many explanations as if why this can be. One of them, there's also a lot of debates in psychology about this. So nature versus nurture, so how you were brought up or your nature. So just environmentally as you are as a human, you might not like red because it's not often seen in nature. So more earth-like colors like green might make you feel more grounded. There's also cultural reasons behind this. Also society that has been pushed upon. So we see a lot, really commonly, the color blue being pushed in the gender of males and pink being pushed to the gender of females. That can also play a big role. Then it can also just depend on the person. But there was a correlation that people liked certain colors because they could associate them with themselves. So, for example, yellow, a lot of people saw that as bright and happy, and that's also because they might see themselves as being very happy and bright and a very positive person. So that might push them towards yellow being their favorite color. I hope that answers your question.
Well, yes, it does. Thank you a lot for the examples.
Do you know if there's any like research done with like animals or like babies, for example?
I know there is a lot of research done, I think, in humans as well. So this is not a new thing; it's commonly used. But I don't know about animals actually. But I did have to search the morphology of animals when I was looking at the cone cells of the brain. And it turns out certain creatures can see way more colors and way more of the spectrum than we can. So I guess this varies across species. I don't know if that answers the question.
But do they also have like certain preference towards colors? Or
Yeah, it's possible, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Oh, okay.
First of all, thank you for your presentation. I had a question that you mentioned this color psychology can be used in medicine. What examples can you say about this fact in medicine? How can be used color in medicine?
There are studies made that say that patients that are not exposed constantly in white walls in hospitals, if they're exposed to color, they might have a faster recovery. So this is a very simple example on how we can use color in medicine. Yeah, and it's more towards, I would say, the side of psychological medicine, other than actual physical operations and medicine. But yeah, it can be used quite very simply to just simply boost recovery.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much, and we will have the last presentation in a few minutes.
Ah, no, que están al proyecto.
Entro, ¿vale? Hola, ¿me escucháis? Encenderos todos el micro.
Okay.
So the last presentation of this third edition of the International Congress of Young Researchers is called Prototech, Prosthesis Transtibial, presented by Maria, Luna, and Yael. Guys, it's your turn.
Good morning. Let me introduce my team, Maria Fernanda, Luna, and me, Yael. Our teacher in charge is here from Jalapa, Mexico. We are here to present the project Protote. It's a prosthesis transcription.
We developed this project know that 60.2 million people have some kind of disability. 1% represent those who can walk. Prototech is transported made with recycled material low-income people who don't. In fact, in Mexico, this disability is the number one in terms of people 13 and 18 years old. Since it exceeds the person compared to the other condition. And that is why that people, these world are in the top of disability, represent a significant problem for public health and life in Mexico. Due to the fact that vision of prosthesis is complicated in this country, we ask ourselves to create a leg prosthesis that designed with a very low cost and manufactured in broad life. In the mass accessible market to the public, these prostheses have a price which goes from 1,170 Mexican pesos, which minimum wage as well as the current economical crisis shows there is not an option for people with low resources. So it leads to the use of affecting the this is why in comparison is the most economical, functional, knowledge about people with disabilities in a low-income community. Food is made at different kinds of materials such as steel, brown paper, and polypropylene. Our goal is to design a transit for passengers who have undergone an amputation below the knee, with, with which they obtain the ability to have an upper and a lower limb, and thus be able to stand while performing their daily activities. This prosthesis system is of a very mechanism similar to the electric. This prosthesis was designed and personalized for Mr. Miscaman's Reyes, whose measures, dimensions, and aesthetic qualities were adapted. Once taken into account all these aspects, we start to manufacture the specific material that give more mobility and resistance that match perfectly with people's needs. These prostheses remove out need for limbs below the knee, with which was made with the following materials.
The materials we use for this project is a 10 per 7 centimeters of wood, PVC, 21 centimeters of bamboo, 2 inches of 3 inches for wipe springs compression and some sponge.
The prosthesis consists of two parts. The first part was a socket, which was made with two PVC tubes. These were covered with functional foam, where this prosthesis is adapted and fixed to the stop, which is held to the leg and thus gives the knee comfort. The second part is a prosthetic foot in support to the upper part, which replaces the foot and ankle, giving the stability to start walking. The prosthetic foot was designed in a manufacturing factory with recycling wood from furniture manufacture, having a professional aid. The holes in which the springs were placed were made with a special machine, and later they walking will avoid getting is needed to adjust fully to the legs to avoid accident. To conclude, we can say we obtain a functional prosthesis that not only cares about a group of people with common resources, but all who actually need it. Because with Prototech, we work hand in hand. That is all for this presentation.
Thank you so much for your presentation to the Mexican delegation, and thank you to everyone who participated in the event, both in personal and also online. We end the third session of presentation, and we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow at the closing ceremony of the International Congress of Young Researchers. Thank you.